it's a lot of that time of the year type of speculation. But I think no man knows the future. But I think the people think we've done a good job and are pleased with the job that we've done here in Michigan. They're going to be, very happy to learn that we'll be back enthusiastically coaching the Wolverines in 2023.
Woo! Wee! Famous last words? I don't know for sure. Welcome in. Happy New Year. If those of you are out there back to work or back to doing whatever regular routine on this Tuesday, the 3rd, welcome in. That was Jim Harbaugh audio from WXYZ TV from 3 weeks ago. And a lot of people leaning on that particular comment and the one last year that he told Mitch Albom about, look, I told Ward, this is just going to be a one-time thing. This is not going to be a reoccurring thing. And yet here we are. It does seem to be a reoccurring thing. And, we're the Maize and Blue Reviews. Good afternoon, Michigan football, where we talk about the latest in Michigan sports. I got Jim Scarcelli. We're going to connect with the former Wolverine in a minute. And, ask Scar about his thoughts about Harbaugh and, the Big Ten in the bowl season. And then, Scar's going to break the film out from the Fiesta Bowl on Saturday night. Some people like to look back to see what happened. I like, I looking for it. I have not yet looked back at the film. So I am looking forward to it. You'd say, some people like horror movies and they like going on those rough rides. I think it's going to be a little bit of a rough ride coming up with Scar, but it's great to have you with us, like Richard. He's saying, Happy New Year and health and wealth to all the fellow Blue Bloods, and I'm right with you there. And it is Happy New Year, and I do like Richard's saying, he wasn't with you with us yesterday, and I was looking back, and I think it's a combination of New Year's Eve. And then this new diet I was on, man, at one point during the show, I didn't have my mic on for the first 20 minutes of the show. So I restarted it. And then midway through the show, I don't even know what I was arguing. I was arguing whether it was the offense's fault more or the defense's fault more, or if it was the player's fault more or the coach's fault. I mean, so what was it? Was it the offense's fault or the defense's fault or the coach's fault or the player's fault? It was all of those as a combination. But then I started arguing back and forth. I was yelling at people that were joining us. And so it was a wild ride. And the thing about leaning on what Jim Harbaugh, I think, for me, like, you get there, you're either a man of your word or you're not. But your word in college football coaching circles over the years and 25 cents will get you a cup of coffee. And so you always hope that your guy, in this case, Jim Harbaugh, is going to be different. And a lot of people, have leaned on that, saying, hey, this guy's a man of his word. Let's go with what he's saying until he, proves you wrong. And I think that is a good way to go. Back, I was looking at the quote from last year after the Minnesota situation, and then just from 3 weeks ago, where he's going to be back, coaching with an enthusiasm, with all of that. I'm thinking, okay, and now things have changed. Well, things do change. I mean, that's the part. And I don't have any announcement or breaking news on Jim Harbaugh leaving, or if I think he's going to the NFL or anything else. There are circumstances that change that could change the way that he's looking at his situation. And, maybe that situation will come. I would think, he does already know about that potential situation. That's a potential situation that could come to light over the next couple of weeks, and you say, oh, okay. And it just, for me, it looks where it makes, because I think most people are standing by like, look, Harbaugh just said he's coming back. Well, if some of the stuff that is out there, the extenuating circumstances, you could say, oh, well, that's why he's changing his mind. And so maybe that stuff, and then you could understand why, all the comments that are being posted, which I understand completely, you would say, oh, that's why. Well, you say, well, what is it? I'm like, I don't know, look around, for a former staffer somewhere else, and potentially what could be coming out about that. We'll see. And so maybe there's nothing to that, or maybe there is something to that where Harbaugh would be disenchanted with college football. Could happen. People talking about money. Money is an offer where you say you're not going to listen. It could be as easy as that. Somebody coming up and saying, hey, here's Gladiator talking about 20 million. That's what Belichick makes. And, how many years are you going to go? Like Denver's like the worst situation in the NFL. But, normally coaches get 5 years. But look at Dan Campbell got 6. But we're not dealing with normal. Jim Harbaugh's not normal. John Gruden got 10 years. A guaranteed $100 million. So, I don't know. You want to double that? You want to go 10 years and $200 million? So you'd say, well, why would anybody want to take the Denver job? Well, I don't know. That could be one of the reasons why. 200 million, something like that. All of that, Travis making a point about that we were going to blow out TCU seems kind of silly in retrospect. TCU wasn't respected enough, and we played sloppy. You know what, Travis? I am going to agree with what you said. TCU was a better football team than I thought. They were very well coached, very well drilled, very prepared. I'd say even better prepared than Michigan. They played better on Saturday than Michigan. I think Michigan and myself underestimated TCU's speed and underestimated just TCU's overall talent. Should underestimated TCU. I think that was part of it. And then you make a lot of mistakes, and and you're not able to dictate the tempo, and you get into a situation where you haven't been, and you got what you got on Saturday. Let's talk with Jim Scarcelli about it. And before we connect with Scar, I do want to tell everyone that if you and here he is. Scar, how you doing?
Denny, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about the Michigan effort this year. I think we have a real good program, a real good system. We got a great leader in Coach Harbaugh. We've got great assistant coaches. We've got our program right where we want it. Our players played well this year. I think we have a lot to be proud of. 2 years in a row, we put Big Ten championship rings on our fingers. Yes, our bowl game, it didn't play out like we would have hoped, but there's a lot of positive things about this team that I'm encouraged with. The direction is good, and I'm just going to stay positive, Denny. Big D, I'm staying positive because I like a lot of the things that happened this year.
Well, as we sit here on a Tuesday, I think all of that is true and can remain true, but we'll see, as they say. We'll talk about some of the players and the coaches in the new year. We'll look at some of those Big Ten bowls. I know Scar was sitting around watching them with a coach's eye. We'll have some Fiesta Bowl film for you, but we'll start at the top with the head man that you talked about and the direction, and Jim Harbaugh. And I want to get your thoughts, Scar. This is I wanted to get your thoughts here. Harbaugh to the NFL, a new year, and the stories are out there again. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it is what it is. I would like to think that it's just propaganda put out by Buckeye, Spartan, propaganda people that want to attack us and hurt our recruiting and create doubt. for guys that we're recruiting in our program. That's what I would like to believe. I really don't know the truth. I've talked to some people that I know that say it's BS. Guys that I trust, that Jim's not going anywhere, and I'm going to continue to believe my sources that we've got our coach, and he's happy in Ann Arbor. His kids are in school in Ann Arbor, and I'm going to just believe that. And but it's listen, he's won two championships now in a row. He's a proven leader now everywhere he's been. I mean, in my opinion, he won at San Diego, he won at Stanford, he won with the 49ers. Now he has won at Michigan, and the guy's 4-0, so you can see that he knows how to build a program, and it's easy to understand why someone could throw a lot of money at him. But I just hope it's BS, and I hope my sources are solid.
Well, you like to take coaches at their word, and you like to take them, you don't like to lump them all in and saying, hey, a coach and an assurance and 25 cents to get you a cup of coffee. You'd like to be able to take each individual in what they say. The thing that's different this time around is that, last year, Harbaugh he told his coaches and the players that he was looking. And then, he ultimately went and interviewed for that Vikings job. This year, it's been different. He has said that is not the case. And, as recently as a couple of weeks ago said, he's going to be coaching in 23. So that's the difference if, we'll see. And then hopefully from a Michigan standpoint, he is a man of his word. So that's the thing that we'll have to take a look at and watch in the upcoming days with Jim Harbaugh. All right. Harbaugh has got a lot of assistants, and you mentioned the success Michigan has had over the last 2 years. And that the players that Michigan has added both on the early signing day and with the transfer portal, that there is going to be some attrition, and the coaches, you're always going to have some turnover there. Who's desirable, who's coming, who's going? What are some of your thoughts there? It's every 5 minutes this thing can change. So where are you sitting with the fluidity of the roster?
That's something that I would think would really start to happen, is that Jim's tree of coaches would really start to get opportunities. I know he wants that to happen. When I played, there was always coaches leaving for different jobs. Coach McCartney got a job. There were guys leaving all the time that were getting head coaching jobs, and now 2 in a row, 2 championships in a row. A guy like Jay Harbaugh, a guy like Klinksdale. If you look at the kind of defense Michigan plays, you got Minter and Klinksdale. You would think someone would say, okay, well, whatever, we want one of them guys to be our guy. So those are 2 mark. You would think Minter would be a candidate for a head coaching job. So defensively, and then Helo's probably a little young yet, but he could be a coordinator somewhere. Some big school could say, be our coordinator instead of a linebacker coach. So, but that's why maybe some of this stuff Harbaugh with these pro offers, well, maybe that can help him get more money for his assistant coaches always to keep them. But offensively now, you always hear about Sharon Moore, Michael Hart. Bellamy's probably a little bit too young yet. He's still getting his feet wet in college sports, but college football. But, we got good coaches on that side of the ball. Mike Elston, he's been in it a long time. I don't know. It seems like Mike is just happy being a D-line coach. That's pretty much what he's done forever. But I would think Hart, Klinksdale, coordinator, possibly head coach, Sharon Moore, possible head coach. But it hasn't really happened yet. You keep hearing these names, but it hasn't happened. But obviously Jim promotes them. I think that's why I'd want to work for Jim if I'm one of those a position coach, because Jim seems to be really actively always promoting his assistants to head coach or coordinator positions.
Well, he lost both coordinators last year and was able to replace them without missing a beat. So he had that. He also named dual coordinators on both sides of the ball in Matt Weiss and Sharon Moore, the Weiss Moore. Then on the defensive side, Jesse Minter and Steve Klinksdale, the Minter Klink. So, those guys have those titles. And so that would probably look good if they do have a next a spot where they're going to start. Looks good on the resume. when you mention the money and money for assistants and everything else, Jim Harbaugh should have no issues when it comes down to money. If Jim Harbaugh desires, like I was just thinking about it, during the bowl season, where Harbaugh, how far his star has risen just in college coaches. Before when he was in the pros, it was up there pretty high, near the top, and then he came back to college, and then it fell a little bit. Certainly over the 6 years, it wasn't up there, and he wasn't in the top 5. But Saban, and even though what Sweeney has done, he's got a couple championships. You put his name out there. Lincoln Riley, you'd have his name. There's 3, and Smart, in the championship going for 2 for 2. There's 4 coaches. I think I'd put those 4 in front of Harbaugh, but I'm not sure I'd put anybody else in front of him. I think he's top 5 right now. If Jim Harbaugh wants anything with his salary, he should walk into Ono's office or Manuel and say, "Hey, look, this is what I want." And if he wants the money for his assistants and everything else, he should say, "Hey, this is what I want," and he should get it. He should have no issues there. That should be a real easy ask and a real easy decision for everybody that's out there. If it's coming down to money, that's I don't see any issues.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, and I agree that we've done it. We've put the product on the field and 2 years in a row, and Jim should be compensated. I think you're absolutely right about that. But I was just thinking maybe some of this stuff is actually good. Every year that we hear this, it's actually good from his ability to go in there and ask for more money for his assistants. He gets less pushback when you're productive on the field, and he gets maybe a little less pushback. But yeah, I agree with you on all that. So hopefully we keep our guys some of the top paid coaches in the country.
Yeah, and there's the idea. I don't know if they'll put it into place for next year that they were going to. It was a little weird that this was one of the things that when you talk about college football playoff and all the different things with compensation, that they were going to blow the lid off of any cap when it came down to how many coaches and administrative and analysts that you could have on the sideline. And, that looked like it would benefit the bigger schools like Michigan. So, that would be another situation where you could, add a lot more there. But, that was something that was just being talked about in the off season. We'll see about that. The bowl season didn't go well for Michigan, obviously, in the semifinal, but, the Big Ten, what culminated with the last game there with Penn State out there in the Rose Bowl with it raining at the end. I've never seen that, but what were your thoughts? I know you watched all the games, Scar, in particular on New Year's Day. What was it like yesterday?
Yeah, I took a peek at pretty much all of them. Our losers were Illinois, 2 real good defensive coaches there. That guy ended up getting the job to replace Mike Leach. A low-scoring game, and obviously we lost. The Buckeyes lost a tough one. I knew they'd score points against Georgia. I actually bet them. I should have had that as my pick. I took them with the 6.5. I just thought indoors, perfect conditions, their ability to throw the ball, but they couldn't. I thought they'd play better defense. The Purdue game.
Go ahead.
The Purdue lost. So those are our 4. Denny, watching the Purdue game, I guess got to be honest. It's so frustrating because I played on 5 different bowl teams, and started on 2 of them. And it's really frustrating if I'm a player for Purdue and you have a good season. And listen, I get it. The kid lost his brother, but man, you don't have your quarterback. And it was just a mess to lose that bad. And then I watched the Iowa-Kentucky game. Neither of those teams had their quarterback. And they're both playing quarterbacks. I think they were true freshmen getting their first start, whatever. And it's almost like they're almost like scrimmages, some of these bowl games, and it's again, it's frustrating in a way, all the preparation, all the work that goes in for these other position players, especially the seniors who want to go out as winners. And I hear the coaches are playing true freshmen in these games. There's part of me that, anyway, Maryland, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa won. And Penn State, that was a good, victory for Penn State to represent us in the Rose Bowl. That was a good performance by their defense. Played a lot better than they had all year. But anyway, a lot of scrimmage type look from a lot of these bowl games. Playing true freshmen. All these guys leave and sitting out and opting out, and it's a different time than when I played, man.
Well, that's for sure. It's you look at all the different bowl games and everything, all the different moving parts. And I was looking at it, and I didn't think it would be as enjoyable. And then it ended up as a whole, not the Michigan game, but there were a lot of entertaining games. You think about Tulane and USC, and that's always been the weird thing to me when it comes down to when you mentioned your playing days and where we're at right now. I mean, it has changed so drastically in the last couple of years. And you have a guy like you talk about the student athlete and your teammates and your love of the university and all those things, and they still have those elements. But now, man, it's cash here, jump here, big money, everybody where's mine, I'm out of here, where's the loyalty? I mean, it's it's always been kind of going that way, and you always had to deal with that kind of stuff. But in the last couple of years, I mean, it's pretty wild. But it's like that with a lot of things. So you either take the good parts out of it and are able to deal with it, or you just move on. So that's where I'm at.
Listen, it's enjoyable for us to watch the game, but I'm just putting myself as a senior player for like Iowa or Kentucky, a guy who went through it, going to prepare and work hard for a bowl game, and then here I got these freshmen representing me. Where's my guy that I played all season with, or that Purdue team that played, won the Big Ten West, and all those guys fought like heck. And where's the rest of our team, man? So
and the thing for me, like I want, like if I was going to watch, I didn't watch any of that Kentucky Iowa game. I watched Alabama. I probably watch Alabama and Kansas State more because Alabama had their 2 stars, maybe the 2 picks in the top 2 picks in the draft. They came back, but if Will Levis was over on the other side and the other running back, maybe I would have watched there. Those are the weird things. Like you get some of those guys that and overall for the sport, you'd say, what's good for the sport is when you have name recognition. I talked about this for years when it comes to college basketball, because if you're any good for 1 year, you're out of there, in football in the bowl season. But, the ratings do pretty good anyways. Football can pretty much do anything. It's like bulletproof. They just put anybody out there and people are going to watch.
Yeah. You wonder, Danny, I was wondering if Alabama threw some NIL money, somebody boosted up and said, hey, we want you to play this bowl game, to the quarterback and the big line. I just wondered, if some of that stuff is in play.
Probably should have. What they should do is they should pay for their insurance policies if they're going in there. If if you're Bryce Young and you should get when you're projected to be the number 1 pick, you should get the greatest insurance policy that that anybody would insure you for. The same thing with Anderson. So they should get all that paid for. And everything.
Yeah, it could have happened. We just don't know it. It could have.
Yeah, a lot of things could happen. You don't know. A lot of things going on behind the scenes, Scar, with the the coaches and the NFL. You had a guy talking to me about John. He was just talking about Harbaugh. And he just started throwing all the numbers at me and everything else. And he said, remember Gruden got 10 years and $100 million and all that was guaranteed. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So all those a lot of things going on, behind the scenes when it comes down to that. All right, you ready to?
Danny, I don't know. Just a couple quick thoughts. I see Zinter and Corum. Those are big guys, and that we're talking about possibly coming back. We'll see what happens with them. And I'm wondering what's going to happen with Andrel Anthony. I don't think he played much in the bowl game, so that'll be interesting. I just saw that Spurlock entered the portal. So Spurlock, Cade, Alls, Rooks. Rooks is a guy that I don't want to play against one day. I thought he was going to be a good defensive lineman. Bowman is going to go, and Hansen. I can see why those guys gone. For all of them, I understand why they left. But I don't know. Any thoughts on them real quick before we get into the game?
Yeah, the Bowman go down to Charlotte and play for Poggi. Is that official? I don't know. I know.
Is that what you heard? I don't know. That would be.
Somebody told me that. I don't have that officially in front of me. It made a little bit of sense. Well, I know this, like, Rooks and these guys, it's the part when you get a transfer portal and then you got guys, it almost, it does make sense. I mean, if you've been around for a year or two and then you got guys that are younger that are playing in front of you and you can just hit the portal and you think you can go somewhere else and have a better shot, you get out of there. So, that's part of college football now. You're going to have more guys going than, you had in the past. You just got to get used to it. That part of the roster, and you're going to have a lot of balls in the air. But we knew this, considering just the numbers of transfers and the number of recruits that Michigan had, that there was going to be some attrition. So, all those guys, out of all those, you might be right about Rooks. I mean, I don't know about Spurlock. You never get out there and played, so I'm not really sure what kind of player he was,
Yeah. All right, Denny, I've got the game up here whenever you're ready.
Well, I just have to snap my fingers. And there it is. Fingers snapped.
I'll tell you, man, we were thinking, we had such high hopes. This first play, it's the best run of the day, and it's just a lead ISO. I was wondering, I know this play has been good to us, but I would not have had 86 running this play. I would have had 82 in there, but I know it affects some of the, what the defense is seeing because I just wouldn't want to have Schoonmaker take many more hits than he really needs to, but he gets a great block there. And it was, this is straight ISO. We've done this all year. Sometimes we've done it with him going in motion. And we ran it a lot against Iowa, but we just, we block it perfectly. They get a missed tackle there. And I thought Donovan was going to score, and that guy makes a good play there. But, God, I was just thinking, that's the way this is going to be. Take another look here.
They get a horse collar on
straight
it.
up isolation play.
Somebody told me to look for a horse play. Just take a look at the end and see if you thought it was.
Yeah, he grabbed it for a second, Denny. He grabbed it for a second there, and then he let go. Maybe he grabbed it just long enough to, let's see. Yeah, what's he grabbing right there? So the referee, I don't know if the ref's in position. Looks like just the top of his nameplate. Not really sure, but yeah, could have been. And then he gets them. Okay, so this is the Philly special, and again, this is a great play versus man coverage. It's terrible versus zone because they got no one on the quarterback. And I know, having played defensive end and trying to coach defense, I've seen a lot of these plays, and it's hard to get your defensive end is the guy that has to try to feel a quarterback coming across his face. But, I would like to run this play knowing the coverage, but we should have had a real understanding of what the coverage was. And you see the motion, and he doesn't come across with the receiver. So it tells you that it's probably some type of, because he stops there. It's some type of a zone. And that's why that guy is on that on JJ. Some type of scheme where they have zone principles. Again, this just doesn't work. They get pressure here. They get Loveland running deep. So
yeah, but before you go any further, I mean, why aren't you? Wouldn't the principle, if you're practicing this play, to be like, look, we're going to see if they are in zone, and if they are, we are going to audible out of that. This seems like a gigantic mistake right from the start. I mean, why wouldn't you? I get that Bell is going to be a part of the play. Why aren't you putting somebody in motion to determine what kind of coverage they're in to begin with, if that's the biggest part of the play? That seemed like the gigantic mistake even before they got into the cadence or anything.
Yeah, Danny, it's that's what the great coaches are able to figure out, and obviously maybe our coaches thought by formation, thought by down and distance, thought by what they've shown in the past. Sometimes you maybe you couldn't get out of that play. So I don't know, but this is here's this interception, and I'm just trying to see how this guy gets such a great break on this football. I mean, we could have ran out and up, and he doesn't even honor it. He's just breaking on the ball. I mean, JJ still has the ball in his hand. He hasn't even attempted to throw it. We could throw breaking on, no respect for deep. So I don't know if it's they didn't respect Randy Bell's ability to run deep, but this guy is already breaking on the football. Todd Blackledge says it was man coverage. I don't know that there's anybody over the top, but I don't know how he's able to get such a great break on this football. And, is it scouting? Is it's something? Is he seeing something in our alignment? Is he knowing something about, how he's able to get such a great break? And it was just, I looked at it real close, and it's not something normally, able to. So it was bad stuff, emotionally, offensively, a lot of it, give them a lot of energy and enthusiasm. So I just couldn't figure out how he's able to get such a great break. Guy made a great play, but it is what it is.
Hey,
this
Scar,
is
I wonder.
one of
Scar, I wonder about that play. I mean, JJ was staring him down the whole time, and a lot of times they talk about moving the guys or holding them with your eyes, and maybe he should be, if he was planning on going there the whole time. Why isn't he looking over to the left or looking over the middle? Because he definitely sat there and stared down Bell the whole time. I mean, he doesn't look anywhere else. I mean, that seemed like it could be part of it.
Yeah, but in zone coverage, he's in man coverage, the defensive player is looking at the receiver. He's not really looking at the quarterback. That's one of the greatest advantages of zone. You're looking at the quarterback. In man, you're looking at the guy you're covering. So, I don't know. I don't know. If he's in man, he should be looking at the receiver. So in general, that works, Denny. So
Great play.
Yeah, you make good points. Is he? I don't know. Maybe the guy's Superman. He looked like Superman there. So
Yeah, he did.
We made him look like Superman. So anyway, this is one of many times. We hadn't done this, man. We lose contain. This is like their first drive, or lit them out. That's just terrible. This is Upshaw letting them outside the defense. There's no excuse for this. Absolutely no excuse. Just play your gap, and you're outside responsibility. Make it go back inside. And I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what he's doing. Working there, let the guy get outside. It's too easy, man. That's the stuff. That's the stuff that those teams did against us, and now we allow it to happen. Now the same guy, we're gonna jump off sides, 3rd and 7. We get off sides. So they got that. Maybe I don't know if he felt it, and then we get a hole in the pocket. And he steps up. And we talked about this, that this was going to be one of the biggest fears I had. But it's hard. It's hard to stop it. And the kid's an athlete. But we don't help him by jumping off sides. So not a good start. Okay, now this is something, we've done a good amount of. Now here's Okie dropping in coverage. But I got it down here. There's advantages of playing a 260-pound edge guy. But it's a disadvantage when you try to ask these guys to drop in coverage. 260-pound edge pass droppers playing 6. Let me see here. When I look at this, his drop is not deep enough. I don't know how many reps he gets at this in practice, or if he's not athletic. And get deeper, and where do they throw the football? They throw it right. If he were zoned, Denny, because look at where the other 4 guys are. We're 5 under, 3 deep. Look where these other guys are. If he was back here deeper, and again, I say it's he's got to be able to drop and rush the big tackles, so it's tough. And if he had a deeper drop, I played that stand what they're asking him to do, and I just think a deeper drop, we probably would have stopped that. Now, I'll give these guys credit. The games I looked at, I didn't see them running this, but this scheme, it creates conflict and confusion, and it's an easy walk-in for them. We just had nothing there to stop that. And they this is good coaching. They see what we're going to do. They know we're in man, and they block this thing. We just got. We got nothing there. So that's not a good start.
Yeah, well, the one thing going into this game, CU had scored more points than Michigan on the year, so you knew that they were going to be a handful offensively.
No,
Scar, before
right.
you go,
I saw it.
It's 16 times in this game. 13 of the times it was affected, but 3 big plays. They caught him on the blitz. There are a lot of people that didn't like. They thought that should have been the adjustment. Minter Klink was so good with their adjustments. As you watch this film, that's going to be a question that people are going to have. Did you think that they blitzed too much? Did you think that should have got out of it?
We had trouble stopping the straight dive with the quarterback run. We had trouble stopping, their basic vanilla stuff. And I'll get some plays later where we'll see it. Two receivers, and 1 back, and I think he got to the point where he was getting frustrated stopping their basic stuff with our basic stuff, and he had to bring an extra guy into the box, more than he wanted to, and it cost us. Anyway, this is a great throw and catch, but it cost us 86. This is his last play as probably as a Wolverine. Here's 2nd and 15. And this is why he's such a valuable part, because he can block and catch, and then he comes down. I just think it really hurt us. I thought the kid was a great player, going to be a great pro tight end, and then he's done. I just feel bad for the kid. It hurt our offense. Feel bad for him. He had a great career, and that is what it is. This was I talked about this throughout the year at times, that I think this is a good scheme, especially against a quarterback that steps up in the pocket. And I think we're doing a bull rush where we kind of mirror. We're not really looking to take a side and rush outside of a guard here. And I think this way you have a two-way go from your inside players. Can't step up in the pocket. Sometimes I think they feel that. The quarterback feels that he can't step up in the pocket because you know what I mean by what Mozzie and Graham are doing here, Denny?
Yeah.
They're trying to take these guys straight back, but they're also trying to two gap so that the quarterback can't step up in the pocket. You understand that? Because there's two empty gaps here, and we're asking these two defensive tackles to try to come off on either one of them. And that's an answer to the quarterback stepping up in the pocket. But Junior makes a great play here. Gets his, and this is Ron Moore makes a nice catch. But that was good team defense right there. Because we get a great pass rush. Can't let him step up, and Junior makes a play, gets his hand in there, and then we catch the ball. So here's 1st and 10. We're down 14-3. This is a great call, down and distance. We're 50-yard line. This is the stuff, Denny, in my opinion. When I looked at the Baylor game, Baylor ran a lot of our stuff, and a lot of our physical running to the tight end stuff. But Baylor started the game running away from the tight ends, because I think they're geared up to really want to stop our stuff to the tight end side, or throw the ball out of this stuff early on to get them softened up. And I think I would a little more passing or running away from the tight ends early on. I think we would have had more success. But this is a great call, down and distance. The formation personnel made sense. TCU's thinking run because it's 1st and 10. We got tight ends in the game. So this is a good call by our coaches. We call, and Jay, nice throw. And then, the controversial deal there, and it's frustrating, and we can keep beating up the refs, and it's very frustrating. But anyway, Denny, I don't recall us running this play all year. How many times have we run this formation? I understand why they're doing it, probably because they feel that TCU is really loading up in these A gaps. They're really trying to defend quarterback sneak, and they're trying to defend the real inside stuff. So our coaches said, okay, let's give the ball to a big physical kid. He's carried the ball a few times, and let's offset him. So maybe we'll get to the C gap where they don't have as much defense. That's what I'm thinking the coaches are thinking by doing this. But you can see, that look doesn't tell you, but it looks like we'll get another view where it looks like JJ is kind of rushing it, and we end up fumbling the ball. And the other view is a little better. And I understand why they offset them. The big thing I would say is, how many times did we rep it in practice? If we rep it multiple times, then as a coach, you can kind of accept it, but it's hard.
Well, tell me, as a coach, as you look at it as a coach, was that something where did you like the operation with what McCarthy, how he presented the ball? Did Mullings have
Denny,
his hands?
I'm sorry. I had the other view, and I thought I put it in this to look at, and I didn't. This view doesn't give us the other view. You could see that it looked like JJ was just rushing it, like it wasn't something he repped multiple times. Okay, so anyway, I understand why I believe I understand it, that they wanted to get to this gap where see how there's no defenders in here, in this gap?
Yeah.
See how there's nobody in there, but they got a bunch of guys right in here. They got a bunch of dudes over the guards and centers. Okay. But there's nothing in that C gap. So I'm thinking this is what they were thinking. So it makes schematically, it makes sense. The adjustment to offset your big kid, it makes sense. The only question is, how much did we rep it in practice? And again, this view doesn't show it, but it looked like JJ rushed it, to get the snap, and now he has to start early, and and we end up turning the ball over. So I don't know if I answered your question there, Denny.
Well, I think you did. The question, I think the part of it, that I wonder, a lot of people talked about the bowl prep is that, and we did talk about this after the game on Saturday. It's like, Mullings came over, and after Quorum was hurt, and you saw him for the entire Ohio State game. He had a good game against Purdue, and then he had the entire bowl practice. So this wasn't just this week that, he was thrown in there and was asked to play running back after playing linebacker for most of the year. But just like the Philly special at the beginning of the game that went out there, this was a situation. This wasn't your typical running back. He was more of a fullback or whatever you wanted to do that. This was a fullback special. Were they putting too much on his plate? Now they have him as a power back, and, they've got this time to put in there. Are they putting him up? And you talked about how many times they were repping it in practice, and obviously they're going to work on short yardage situations, which that was. The Mullings special, having him at the fullback down at the goal line, so there's two specials. The things that they worked on in practice, people say, well, what about bowl preparation? Both of those early in the game, these are, and as it ends up being with the score and how you dictated the tempo and everything else, both of those plays blew up in their face. I mean, they got to be sitting here with a little bit of egg on their face that, as they go back and watch the tape thinking, man, we worked on this. These are the things that we thought, short yardage situation. And both of them blew up on us. And you got to wonder, if there was anybody else in there saying, hey, maybe we are getting, we're doing a little bit too much here. I don't know.
Yeah, Denny, that's the $1 million question you face as a coach all the time. And the way you run your program, what you do on defense, offense, special teams. Do you want to be really, really good at a few things or kind of good at a lot of stuff? I mean, it's just like any kind of business, man. You and I both worked for Domino's, and you remember you could have any kind of pop you wanted as long as it was Coke. So, how simple do you want to get? If we would have, I showed you how they were lined up defensively, and I understand what they did. And yeah, and those are the decisions coaches have to make. Should we have just tried to slam it in there in some of our basic stuff that we ran before? And then you get stuffed, and then people say, you're too predictable. So I get what you're saying. Let's move on. Here's us losing contain stuff we haven't done. He's got you. Once you see, if you're responsible for keeping the ball inside the defense, he's got to work for left shoulder leverage. He's got to know how fast this kid is. And I always quoted Clint Eastwood. You got to know how fast you are. How fast is he? How fast am I? Now let's work for left. And we just don't get it. We don't get left shoulder leverage here. He's got to keep the ball inside the defense. Ball gets outside. Too easy. First down. Not good. Stuff that we haven't done. We haven't done that stuff. Here's more confusion. We got a mental mistake here. We're bringing this corner off the edge, and we're looking around. We're not adjusted right. I've talked about corner blitzes. I've talked about safety blitzes, Denny. I don't like bringing it. I don't like bringing them if you're going to snap the ball so deep. The way I used to coach it, and a lot of the guys when I was playing, I know Coach Carr used to have them work down the line of scrimmage and then try to be here when the ball is snapped. Obviously, you might show it, but I'd rather, even with him unblocked, he's not even there in a position to get there. Obviously, with coverage, but so that's again, we've had games we never had one real mental mistake. Not sure how they coach this ball snap. And here's again another safety blitz. Ball is snapped. Okay, the ball is snapped right now, and here's where our safety is, Danny. And here's the line of scrimmage. it's just deep, man. I get what they do. I see how they coach it, and I just, I don't know. Because if he'd have got there a little sooner, if he'd have been at the line of scrimmage when the ball was snapped, he'd have been in the face of this thing. Don't you think? I mean, he's right there. And if he'd have timed it up better, that's just me. We're throwing out stuff as, coaches talk about these things. I'm not, and these guys know, we got good defense coaches. I'm just telling you what I see.
Well, I'm seeing 5.
But he comes all the way across the formation here. Yeah, then we missed the tackle there again. But he's coming, look where he is, Danny. He's coming from all the way over here. He's right here.
Yeah. He was the best player on the field.
He comes from all the way across the formation, and this is really tough. And then because he's ball thrown line of scrimmage. So it's tough. It's a real tough deal. You got to cover him there, and then they're allowed to because the ball's thrown on their side of the line of scrimmage. So it's a smart play and smart coaches on their side that the kid doesn't cross the line of scrimmage. He knows he has to catch it on Scar's number 1 defensive objective, stop the run. Stop the running back run. You remember, Denny, I said all the times I looked at the film, I said, we cannot let them get this going ever. We cannot let them get the running back just straight zone, inside run, whatever. We cannot let them get that part of their offense going. And here's a missed tackle. We just let it get, we've been so good at making teams one-dimensional. If they want to run the ball and they want to run their quarterback, that's one thing. But here we are letting them get their inside run game going. And nothing good happens when they can do that. Nothing. So here we are. I just talked about mirroring, trying to stop this quarterback from stepping up in the pocket. Mirror, bull, or take a side, right? We just talked about it. How I thought that one where we had the interception. Now here we got Mason Graham taking the side. And there, this looks like I think it's a predetermined. Let's take a look. Is it a predetermined quarterback ISO? Yeah, I think it is. It's determined. It's a predetermined quarterback draw with the ISO. So he's following the lead blocker. But if we'd have bull rushed here, yeah, he's going inside of Mozzie too. He's going inside of Mozzie, and that's tough. I think that's Mozzie there. Is that Mozzie or Grant? But anyway, he's taken aside, and now he steps up. You gotta find a way to defend that play, and it's tough. It's tough, and when they come out with 4 receivers like this, they got all the different things. And I think that this is the kind of the stuff that forced him to try to want to blitz more. And you got 2 receivers out here, 2 receivers out here. They move your defense out. And we just didn't get it done here. The linebacker, he's got to try to step up with a big pound in his face. So that's tough. Play action hurts the 8-man box. Here's 1st and 10. Again, here's balls on the 50-yard. I got it on the 50-yard line. So again, they're 2 tight ends. They're thinking run. Look at all the run defense. They got 8 guys right in here. It's 1st and 10. You beat Michigan. Sonny said you got to stop the run. You got to stop the power. That's what we run out of this formation. And here we are now. And this is why we have success in it. Because they're so, they were so geared up to stop our power play, our tight end run game. Sonny said it all week. You got to stop. You got to make JJ beat you, right? Got to make JJ beat you. Well, here we do. We get a nice throw and receiver separation because they're geared up to stop that power run game of ours. So, Danny, I knew this play. As soon as they came out in this formation, I knew the play. I knew it. I knew what we're going to run. It just, I see the lean of the line. Look slightly leaning back. I just felt it. I just said, they're going to throw the bubble out here. I know it. They're going to. The problem is, so did TCU. They adjust late. The kid just goes right through it and drills it. I just sensed it. I sensed it from watching Michigan all year. TCU looked at all 13 games Michigan played. They studied it with their 20 analysts, just like we got. and they looked at it and researched it, and they know down and distance, personnel, what they're going to do, and they kill it. So all I'm saying is I knew the play before we ran it, and I think they did. So unfortunately, so did TCU. Just my thoughts on that.
Yeah,
But,
well, it was one of the big deciders in the game. I would like to have looked at Michigan's short yardage play call sheet. You know, you had the Mulling special, you got the Philly special, you got that one. They don't have any plays where they throw the ball actually into the end zone. A lot of them are, you know, the wide receiver smoke screens or whatever else, and with quarterback runs, but not a lot of throwing the ball into the end zone. I don't know. They didn't really do that all year long, so they kind of played the same there. So that was interesting.
You know, maybe that. Maybe that's the Pete Carroll Super Bowl loss thinking. I don't know. You don't want to throw the ball in, on the goal line. Those are high risk. You get tip balls. I don't like doing it inside there either, because it's not worth getting a tip ball if you have great field position. Unless you have to go for it on fourth down or something. But they like to throw the boot passes or the stuff to the corners of the end zone, a little less risky. But here's the ball slightly behind. Sandstrom makes a play, 3rd and 10, and we run a little stunt in here. And this stuff is better. It helps. I've said it all week. I said it all year. There's one back that anytime you stunt out of this with quarterback up in the pocket, quarterback draw type team, it makes it tougher for them to read and him to step up in the pocket. Anyway, we run a nice stunt. Their quarterback makes a throw slightly behind the receiver, and we make them pay. So they're that's on their quarterback, that's on their receiver, and then we're athletic and good enough to make a catch there. Wolverines are fired up. Yeah. So, we did great. As many things that we did that weren't great on defense. We created a lot of turnovers. So, here's 1st and 10. I got that kid circled there. Great call versus over aggressive versus run defense. And here's again, we're seeing that these guys are over aggressive, trying to stop our run game, and that's the kid we end up beating. So I think it took our coaches a while to figure out that we're going to have to open things up, because their whole game plan was, let's stop Michigan's run game, and you can't force it. I learned that as a coach, offensive coach. You just can't force. If they want to live and die stopping a couple plays, fine, let them do it. But they're gonna give you something. They're giving us this. This kid's out of position, and we protect it, we throw it, we catch it. It's too easy because they're overcommitted. Coach said, got to stop Michigan's run game. Make JJ beat you. Well, let's give him what he asked for. Good call, poorly executed. 2 guys outside tackle. And this is the run that Blackledge was saying a great job. But I look at it from a defensive standpoint. We don't do what we're supposed to do. If this edge player comes inside of this lone protector on this side, we got one guy. We got 2 guys. He'll come outside. He'll go inside. He's sacked. It's done. He's not making this play. Instead, the edge player goes outside, and now the tackle can block both of them. This stuff is coached, Denny, multiple times. We've seen it, and but we haven't made this mistake much. And here's Oki here. I know that this is on Oki. He's got to go inside of this kid. He's got to go inside so that the safety's unblocked. And now we lift one guy. And now we put our secondary and look, anytime you blitz, so people say, why do you blitz? Why do you blitz? Why do we blitz so much? Well, this would have been a great call but we don't. It would have been a sack. We don't execute it. We let this kid be Superman now and step up in the pocket. That's on us. That's on our coaches didn't work on that enough. I believe he did. We didn't make the play, man. So defense, worst nightmare, running back, inside run. Talked about it all week. I said we cannot let them get this inside run game going. And there they are. They get the inside run game going. We're going to have trouble. It's going to be a long day if they get that going.
It was a long day.
So, and it was a long day, and this is tough. Let's see how they're blocking this. So it looks like Graham's a B gap player. So the linebacker's got to be left shoulder here. He's got to be left shoulder. He's taking him on. He's letting this kid tackle him. If he takes it on with his left shoulder and kicks it back in here, we got a chance. So there's another guy that's taking the ball on with the wrong shoulder. You understand that, Denny? That's the young freshman linebacker. You know, I know how they teach this, and he's just got to be he's got to take it on with the right shoulder. Danny, where did I go?
In the third quarter.
I talked. Oh man, where am I at? Mirror Bull. I got screwed up. Here we go. Anyway, that's our worst nightmare. Inside run. It guarantee that with Coach Minter's worst nightmare. If we can't stop that, 2 point. I don't understand how we're teaching this. I mean, they're on the 1 yard line, and I don't understand why we're playing so high down here. I mean, look at Mike. I just don't understand it. I'd be down lower in there. You know, you got to get low. We're letting them move us off the ball. That's just my little coaching point. That, you know, coach can debate it. I wouldn't do it down there. I wouldn't play in a 2 point stance on the 1 yard line. Yeah, I guess this is you know, look at this coverage. It's some type of a robber. They got the linebacker mirroring. I'm not sure how they're coaching this, but we got man coverage on a lot of players. He's running with him. He's running with him. He's running with him. But they probably have the linebackers in some type of mirror. It looks like he might be on is a back in here blocking?
No. The back
So
splits
maybe
out.
they're mirroring. Maybe they have him mirroring and him dropping into a curl here to help out or a slant. And he's just sitting there. He's an extra defender. And I guess that's how they're coaching that. They were men, but they're probably mirroring the quarterback, maybe with both of them. I'm not exactly sure how they're coaching it, but if you're playing Michigan, you better be concerned with JJ stepping up in the pocket. And they could have been mirroring him here. And then they just tell him to just sit inside of these slants and curls unless he steps up in the pocket. And JJ doesn't see him. And you know, that's not a good deal there. So we got 2 pick sixes. We fumbled the goal line, and not good.
I felt like it was
pick
over.
up pressure here. So here we go. This is one. Pardon?
It felt like the game was
felt
over.
It was over at that point.
The way Michigan had seized back the momentum, and then the way TCU snatched it back, it felt like it was over there. But obviously, it wasn't. They came back twice from being 8 down.
I'll give our guys credit for fighting. You know, and again, this is their coaches worried about. Now they're bringing those 2 extra backers, and this is what JJ does to you. So that play before they had him mirror, and they picked him off, and now they're having him step up. Our line picks it up. You know, they got there. Well, the coaches do things. They don't do the same thing every time, and we got them that time. We got them the time before they picked us off. QB power away from motion. You know, we hadn't run a lot of QB power. We haven't run a lot of predetermined runs by JJ all year. Coach Harbaugh picks. You know, we have it in the playbook. He doesn't like to do it because the kid's too valuable to our taking too many hits. But you know, in this game, their coach didn't care. He was running the heck out of Duggan, and it looked as the game went on. Coach Harbaugh said, "To hell with it. We're going to run our quarterback." And now we are a whole nother team to defend when you run the quarterback. It's a whole nother problem now. And we execute it, we block it. That's quarterback power, and that's a whole nother problem. And again, the only downside is you have your quarterback taking shots. He's going to get hit. But at that point, you know, there's no power now. Perfect defense versus this play, still can't stop it. So now we're bringing the corner off the edge, and let's see what that's just straight run, that's straight dive. And we're bringing people, and we're just not coordinated right. We're not, I don't know how they're coaching. I don't know how they're coaching Harrell here. So we got him coming off the edge. I would have thought he might be on the quarterback read. He would stay outside of this thing and come off the butt of the tackle for the running back. But he's working across the face. He's working across the face of the tackle, Harrell here. Okay, or the linebacker here now. The linebacker is the guy who's no, never mind. I'm sorry. I'm screwed up, Denny. This is the guy that they have on the quarterback, and they have Harrell punch and come across the face. And I thought Harrell should have stayed outside of that thing because the linebacker is going to be in here in his gap. I'm not sure how they're coaching this. And then Harrell would pick up this running back. But now we got him on the quarterback, but nothing on the running back. So I don't know how they're coaching it. We got too much defense inside here. We got Harrell inside the tackle. We got the linebacker inside. We got all this defense inside, but we still have one guy taking two. And that's not the objective of that stunt, I would imagine. That makes sense to you, Denny?
It does.
Anyway, it's not a good look. Inside run. Bad. When they can get that inside game, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, well, what it says to me is when I see all of the, the different angles and Michigan not being in the spot and fundamentals, is that, TCU, they're a pretty good team. Like, that's usually what happens when you're the better team. The other team is, they lose their fundamentals, they lose their angles, and it's going to happen a few times in a game, but it happened a lot to Michigan in this one. So a lot of credit goes to TCU for that. At least as far as I was looking at it.
Yeah, their offense, their linemen picked it up. Yeah, listen, their offense schematically gives you a lot of problems. They can run it and throw it with their quarterback, and then they spread the field. They do all the things that make things difficult on defense.
Let me ask you,
we make mistakes. We don't tackle right. We're not in the right.
Let me ask you a little bit about that 3-3-5. I had somebody tell me that it doesn't see the 3-3-5, and obviously that they were trying to simulate that in bowl practices, but there's more teams that are looking at it, but when you haven't seen that, obviously they wish they would have done a better job, but maybe they got a little bit confused by this 3-3-5 defense at times.
Danny, it's very similar. Now here they always have three defensive linemen, but they do different things, and their adjustments are different on how I'll show you where it looks like our 3-4 at many times. Their 3-3-5 will look exactly like what we do when we jump into that same look at times. It's just that they don't very seldom will they put a fourth defensive lineman in. But listen, you gotta find and understand the strengths and weaknesses of it. And we like I said, I think we hammered too hard early on to our tight end side and try to be at point of attack what we normally do. And here's empty touchdown. We get a good we find the weakness in their defense here, and it looks like somewhat maybe of a too deep look. They're whatever it is, but we got this guy. We put number 4 in a real bind. He got to cover him. He got all that field cover with, and that's a good scheme by our offensive coaches to see that. This looks like the more winners right here, and this is could we have run this on earlier when we fumbled the football? In retrospect, look what we do to their defense here. We put them into downtown Dallas, or no, I'm sorry, or downtown Phoenix. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this stuff that we've been all year, and that's you wish we would have ran that. Find the weaknesses. Anyway, here's probably waited too long to run JJ. Due to them what they are doing to us here. There's no tomorrow. I talked about it. We're running the hell out of JJ. We got to keep up with them scoring. And now we're just saying hell with it. Here's we had this. This is JJ power, quarterback power. Initially was the orgy package. Now we had it in. We ran it against Penn State. We ran it a few times, and this stuff is hard to defend, man. Very hard. I mean, he ends up, look at you, the field spread, it's tough. And these are the things they were doing to us, and now we're doing it to them. And it's hard to defend. It works. So here's 1st and 10, end of the third quarter. Create 3 turnovers, still lose. This doesn't happen very often. And I think I kind of mopped it out of there. I want to say our defense, we created turnovers, man. Roman, big play, tough kid. Roman's a good. I hope he comes. I don't know where he is, eligibility. He's a good player. He does a lot of things.
He can come back.
Here. Yeah, this is motion away. Get a nice block by Colston, and Roman gets in there. Good play, well executed. Again, these are the things that I wish we would have did more of earlier. A great play call. Again, Danny, remember I said early on when I looked at Baylor, I said, we cannot run the ball here to start the game because this is what we do all year. We run here. We run power to the tight end side, right? We pull but what did Baylor do? Baylor started out running away from the strength. They were running because these guys were overcommitted to stopping this play side here. I know I got a lot of mess over here, but this is what TCU's coaches were saying. We're going to stop this power. We are going to stop this side. Okay. And Baylor said, okay, great. We'll run away from it then. And now here we are. It's a 2-point attempt. And we go away from it to make a guy. But we have good luck later on running away from where they were really gearing their defense to stop. Timed up better. We got a time. We run into each other on this little stunt here. It's got to be. Well, what I meant by that was it was actually kind of timed up a little better by San. I think that's Sandstrel. So it is the play that was. This is that 3rd and 7 call.
Yeah, play of the
Remember?
game.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're well coached. This kid is he's gonna take out Johnson here. Smart team and player catches the ball. So right now he catches it here. It's an illegal play because they're blocking here. But he knows to come on this side of the line of scrimmage. And our pass rush is not real good here. But it's timed up better with the safety. If he had a little more pressure here. But again, okay, so right here now. Okay, great. We didn't get that. We didn't get home. They did a good job executing so far. Okay, let's make it a 10-yard gain. But we got to right now, this guy has to make a decision. Where's my angle? I got to take an angle. Sometimes you got to take an angle here. If this guy's a big, slow tight end, maybe you can take an angle here. But I got to know how fast am I and how fast is he? And
Best
we
player
just take
on
a
the
bad
field.
angle. Yeah, and we take a bad angle and we let him get outside the defense. I mean, what is he thinking? What are you thinking there? Take a better angle. If he takes an angle here and he makes him cut back, that would have slowed him down just for a second. You never know. We could have maybe caught him. So, it happens fast. You got to make the right decision. You got to keep the ball inside the defense.
Scar, let me ask you about that play. People
were outside too many times.
Scar, let me.
Somebody just yell coaches about that stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, well,
ahead,
a lot
Danny.
of people are saying that one reminded that defense of Ohio State's when Cornelius Johnson took that 69-yarder and that first touchdown because they didn't have any help there in the back, whether it was a cover 0 or whatever there. Was that is a
same thing? Yeah, Danny, that cornerback, that kid for Ohio State that missed that tackle on Cornelius Johnson, that was a terrible deal. I mean, if he misses that inside to that linebacker there against Ohio State, it was a 8-yard gain, 5-yard gain. But he let the ball outside the defense. That I've said this many times. Day one as a Michigan football player, Coach McCartney always barked at the fact. He always said, "You got to know where your help is. you play defense, you got to know where your help is. You have to know where your teammates are, and you got to keep the ball back inside to your defense. And he didn't do that there. So the kid Ohio State didn't do it, touchdown. This kid didn't do it, touchdown. QB away from strength. Scar said 3 weeks ago, I said this, I said we got to run, do some things away from the strength. Easy yards, positive play. Do it away from strength because they were going to be geared up to stop the stuff to the point of attack. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, this is them punting. This is us punting. Where's the leverage? Okay, where's the leverage? This is not a good play by our punt coverage team. Where's the leverage and contain? Because I was on punt, I coach punt. You got to have you always got to have guys that are containing on every side on both sides of a punt. So I'm looking at look at this. And this kid here is smart for them. All year long, I've been pointing us being the smart guy. This guy should be working out here. Just kind of jogging down there. But that's not good. Coach Harbaugh has been great all year on our punt coverage team. And that was one of our worst coverages all year. 17, this is late in the game now. 17, McGregor, he makes him throw this ball high. I think it's a factor. He's got to throw it a little bit high. All those little things matter. If he doesn't get his hands up and this quarterback doesn't see that jump up and get it, and Junior makes that play. Feel all those little things matter. Both players were a factor there. Good job by both of them. We get off the field. Strong side game gets going. So now when you get when we start getting the weak side game going, now they got to balance up a little more, the defense. So now we get the strong side game going a little bit. You got it, Denny. So if they're so geared to stop your strong side run plays, your tight end side stuff, so hit them weak. And now when they compensate and start going back weak, now you come back strong. And but that's coaching, man. Okay, motion to empty. Gigi makes it happen to Roman. So let's take a look. So we mow A, and Jay feels the pressure, and he makes the play, and Roman's guy fell down. So this is athletic quarterback, buys us some time. Oh, boy. Oh, man. Okay, let's run. I'm trying to go too fast here. Let's run it one more time. Yeah, balls down. Roman did some things. A couple more plays, we'll be done. So, but we're back in the game. 45. This was one of our worst plays of the day, I thought, because I think we really should have been playing run here. I just didn't think he's going to throw the football here, and we're just treating it, especially since they haven't run this formation all game. I don't think they got two tight ends in the game. And I just thought there's 2:35 left, 2nd and 8, and we let them get now to third, short yardage, and it's a play. I thought this is one of the times I thought we should have brought more defense to stop the run. But, it's easy. Listen, it's easy for me because I've been the guy that had to make those calls. So I'm not, again, I think I got the best of in the country. I'm all day long. I want to make sure I'm clear on that. I just know that I've been the guy that got second guessed. So now we get them 3rd and 1 because we let them get turned 2nd and 8 into 3rd and 1. It should have been 3rd and 5.
Yeah, well, I'm going to stop you right there, Scar. I mean, that was one of the biggest plays of the game. And when you make all those different mistakes and you have all of those issues and everything that goes on, at some point, you're going to have to make some consecutive plays if you're going to win a game. And they didn't right there. That was one of the big plays in the game. I'll tell you, before you go on any further there, Jim Harbaugh specifically, but Michigan overall, taking a lot of heat with their game management here late with their timeouts. I went through it as I was watching it. I didn't think that, the most important thing was to score the touchdown there before, but Michigan was getting skewered a little bit on the usage of their timeouts. People wanted them to take one right here. They wanted to take one right there. They didn't until the next series. I didn't think that was a factor. It wasn't a factor because they needed to get this stop on this series right here, and they weren't able to do it, which made it look like, it squeezed them out under a minute where they didn't have any timeouts, and it made them look like they didn't manage the game good.
Yeah.
But the idea was they needed to get a 3 and out here, and they were going to have enough time to be able to run.
Denny, in defense of the Michigan defensive coaches, and I said I covered this many times watching TCU, reviewing their film, is that I'll give Sonny. I had to compliment Sonny because the guy is courageous. He's kind of like Jeff Brom in many ways. He doesn't give a damn. He'll throw the ball, and he showed it throughout. From what I saw, he showed that he will throw the football in tough situations. He has the courage to do it. So Coach Minter understands this too. So when he calls this defense, he scouted them. He knows yes, he will throw it at times in these situations. So you have to make a decision as a coach, and Coach Minter chose to play conservative here, that the guy might boot him out. He might boot this, throw it to hit something up. You just don't know. So those are decisions you have to make as a coach, and it's easy for a guy like me to second guess them the day after. But it is what it is, and I totally understand the comments, and that's what I get it, man. Anyway, that was the last little clip I got there. He's talking.
Yeah, well, a couple of things after going through it again, Star. You were breaking up a little bit there, and you're breaking up here at the end a little bit. But I wonder if Michigan should have paid more attention to Quentin Johnston. He was their best player coming into the game, and he was the best player out on the field. And Michigan a lot of times was just manning him up, and I wonder if they could have done a few more things and given him a little bit more attention when it came down to it. But you watch that game, and yesterday, was it the coaches, was it the players? Obviously a combination. But TCU looked like they were the better prepared team. They played better. I think Michigan underestimated their speed. I think they underestimated their the talent. And that's a part. I'm sure they've got to live with it the rest of their lives. And that's it. I know they're sad. They had an opportunity to go to the championship game and they came up short. So I know they feel it. But it was tough. A tough film to watch. It was tough. It was a roller coaster to watch live. I know that.
Yeah, they'll. The feeling down there is there's so many people down in that Schembechler Hall, Schembechler building. They're making decisions, man. About their future. Guys coming back. There's guys that are going to be having an opportunity to. You got all these new transfers come in. It's there's guys that are. You're going to see some more Michigan kids, I think, in this portal within the next couple of weeks. And guys are going to make decisions, man. They're going to gear up for winter conditioning now, and probably get a week off, and then before you know it, it'll be spring football. So it'll be a whole new team with new guys, new center, new left tackle, and new guys, man. And then some of the is Corum coming back? Those are huge decisions. But either way, man, I'm fired up because we got the right system, the right guy, the right program, and Scar, he's going to keep pumping the positivity because we got another ring on the finger, and I'm just positive where we're headed, and I'm going to end it at that for my thoughts, Denny.
Well, and I'll just tell you that, and all that you say is true, but the critical thing for Michigan football right now is the next 48 hours is what the head coach is going to do. And we'll see. As much smoke and it's all billowing and everything else. I know he said something a couple of weeks ago, but he gets out here and we're sitting here on Thursday and people are still like, oh, I don't know what's going on. And he's that he's not playing this right. That's fine. Whatever he's doing behind the scenes right now and whatever he's thinking, but he's got to get out there, and maybe he already has. But he's got to get out in front of this now, this week, immediately heading into this final week of the NFL. If he doesn't do it, then every second and every minute, every second that goes by, it's a dicey situation, because who he's putting in conflict? He's putting Michigan in conflict. So get it done, coach. And we'll see. Maybe, he said, judge him on his actions and on his words. So we're going to do that over the next couple days here. But that'll be the most important thing for Michigan moving forward, in my opinion. Scar?
I agree with you, Denny. Go Blue.
There he is, Jim Scarcelli. Thanks for watching, everybody.